Welcome to the deep dive.
Hey there.
So this week, we're really plunging into a pretty remarkable slice of Grateful Dead history. We're focusing on the shows, the events, everything that happened between June 2nd and June 8th, but, across all the different years.
That's right. And our guide for this deep dive is that fantastic weekly On This Day in Grateful Dead History listening guide, the one, from GratefulDeadBook.com.
Yeah, it's such a great resource. It really lays out the week's highlights for you. And what makes this week, kind of dense and fascinating is just the sheer number of shows.
Right, 16 shows.
16. And they span from, 69?
Yeah, the real raw energy of 69 all the way up to 1995.
It's like this mini history of the band packed into just 7 days on the calendar.
Absolutely. And the great thing for you listening is you don't just have to take our word for it.
Right?
If you want to listen along, check out the set lists, get the full context, really dig into the details for these shows.
Yeah.
Well, the link to the complete This Week in Grateful Dead History blog post is right there for you in the description.
Perfect. Okay, so let's crack open this week's guide. Beyond the actual shows, it points out some pretty significant historical markers tied to these dates.
Yeah, definitely. One is a bit more somber.
Yeah.
It's remembering the passing of Vince Welnick.
Ah, right. Keyboardist from 1990 onward.
Exactly. He passed on June 2nd, 2006. So it's, a moment to remember his contribution in those later years.
Okay, shifting to moments during the band's career, this week starts with something huge.
Oh, yeah.
The kickoff of the June 1976 comeback tour. Remember, they took that hiatus in 75.
Right, so this is a big deal. Highly anticipated return. And that first show back, June 3rd, 76. Wow.
Packed with new stuff, wasn't it?
It really signaled a fresh chapter that one night. You got the debut of Might As Well.
Okay.
The first Lazy Lightning and its Suffocation.
Classic pairing.
Samson and Delilah and Wheel all debuted on the same night.
4 major songs. That's incredible for one show.
It really is. And the debuts didn't stop there that week.
Oh.
Mission in the Rain, that beautiful Garcia ballad that popped up the very next day, June 4th, 76.
Ah, nice.
And the guide also flags that June 3rd show as the first time Let It Grow was played totally standalone.
Oh, interesting. Not part of the Weather Report suite.
Exactly. So for you listening, finding these early takes gives you a cool insight into how these songs started.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's rewind a bit further. The guide mentions debuts from 1970, too.
Some really foundational stuff. You get the first Swing Low, Sweet Chariot on June 4th, 1970.
Okay.
And then, maybe even bigger, the very first Sugar Magnolia on June 7th, 1970.
Wow, the first Sugar Magnolia. Hearing that lets you trace that song right back to the beginning.
For sure. And just to wrap up that early period, the guide notes June 4th, 1970 was also the last time they played Pigpen's It's a Sin.
End of an era for that tune. So beyond the first and last, this week also seems to have some of those, really unique one-off moments.
Oh, absolutely. Legendary stuff. This is where you find those moments that really capture the band's vibe, that openness to, the unexpected.
Like what?
Okay, think. June 7th, 1969. Fillmore West, already an electric time in place.
Right.
The guide highlights that legendary moment where Janis Joplin just jumps on stage with them.
No way.
Yeah. Sings Love Light with Pigpen. Spontaneous.
Oh.
You can even imagine the energy.
Wow. Wow. Janis and Pigpen.
And what's fascinating is you compare that, early psychedelic era moment with something equally unique, but much later.
Okay.
June 2nd, 1995. The Gyuto Tibetan Monks joined them during drums.
The Monks? Really?
Yeah, the only time it ever happened. They brought this incredible, sacred chanting sound into the mix.
That's amazing. It really shows the sheer breadth, doesn't it? From Janis Joplin to Tibetan monks.
Exactly. And these 16 shows this week, they really paint that picture. You get that raw 69 energy the guide talks about.
Yeah, like that Fillmore West show on June 8th, 69, a powerhouse with guests and jams like New Potato Caboose.
Right. Then you jump to 1970, those Fillmore shows again, but with the acoustic electric sets.
Ah, that distinct format.
Yeah, you hear them really digging into the songwriting craft, right around Working Man's Dead and American Beauty.
And then leaping forward again, this week hits 1977 hard. Some real benchmark shows.
Oh, yeah. The guide specifically calls out June 8th, 77, for a masterpiece version of Sugary.
77 Sugary is something else.
And those other 77 shows this week, like June 4th and 7th, are just known for that tightness, that power. So you listening, diving into 77, It's often seen as a peak.
Definitely worth checking out. What about 78?
Yeah, there's the June 4th, 78 show, High Energy. The guy mentions this really memorable intro to Not Fade Away. Sounds almost like a revving motorcycle, apparently. Pretty unique. And then 1980, you've got strong shows like June 5th and 8th. And June 8th has that incredibly rare opening sequence.
It was.
Uncle John's band into playing in the band and then back into Uncle John's band to open the show.
Whoa. Okay, that's different.
Very different.
So yeah, just in this 1 week, June 2nd to 8th, the GratefulDeadBook.com guide lets you sample, like, the whole journey.
Right, from the raw 69 jams, the 70 Acoustic Electric stuff, the polished 77 peak, solid 80 shows, even that unique 95 moment. It's a concentrated dose.
Yeah, it really is.
So if you kind of step back and connect these dots, all these debuts, the final performances, these wild guest spots across decades, this specific week, year after year, it becomes this like amazing lens. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, what's the takeaway?
Well, maybe the question for you to think about is, seeing all these moments crammed into these 7 days across 26 years, what does that tell you about the band's constant evolution, their willingness to just keep changing and reinventing themselves?
That's a great thought to leave people with. It really does capture their journey in a fascinating way. And remember, there's so much more detail, plus all the music links waiting for you in that GratefulDeadBook.com guide. So definitely check the link in the description to explore it all yourself.